there. Let's see here what we've got going on.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Oh, the wrong thing. Well, we're starting out a little bit crazy tonight. Well, we're going to pick it back up here. So I was going to play the intro of the show, but then I got confused with another one. But anyhow, so we're going to move on forward with the show. I want to welcome you to Going Solo with Cece, and it's so great to have you guys. You know, you are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and I was doing a little bit there on Facebook Live, which was kind of fun, and had quite a lot of people coming up on that. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to join us here in this platform, because this is more of a TV type of platform that we have. But let me tell you a little bit about me. If you don't know me, my name is Cece Schatz, and I am the douanier, if I say it correctly, or whatever. Christopher always corrects me. But I help people through relationship loss, really moving them through to living their best lives and helping them be, you know, really, I feel, more in touch with themselves. And so I've been doing this for quite some time now, and we've been, you know, we've worked together as a group with our divorce support group, and through some of the other groups that I have a Everybody Let's Mingle group, and a lot of different avenues with that. And so what we do is we kind of get in touch with ourselves and trying to explore who we are and how we can move forward in our lives. And so that's really what I'm about. We have the site, which is a Going Solo Network, and we have the radio live streaming broadcast, which streams there. We have Rosalind and Amy Sherman and Rosalind Sadaka. They were on right before me. And right now, if you're listening to the actual live streaming broadcast, you're listening to an interview that I did with Rosalind Sadaka, who is pretty awesome. And we talk a little bit about getting through the holidays. So, which brings me to our topic tonight, Dad's Going Solo. I thought, you know, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to really embrace the guys, because I wanted you all to know, and I have quite a strong male following, and I want to thank you for being so supportive over the years with me. But the thing is I realize that you all go through things a little bit differently than us women. And so since I'm a woman, you know, I'm more kind of a little bit in touch with, you know, my feminine side and trying to understand. I'm more emotional, this kind of thing. But, you know, as I got to know the men and understand them a little bit more, I start to realize that a lot of what I've experienced in relationship loss and recovery moving forward has been very similar with the guys, meaning that I'm kind of the one left behind. And so often in a relationship, it's the guys are the ones that are moving away. They're having to be apart from their children. They're having to try to redefine and reestablish their lives in a totally different facet than us women do, or many women do within the relationship. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. So as we're moving forward, really fast forward into the holiday season, there's so much that is really kind of, you know, touching our hearts and really expanding ourselves and making it very, very difficult for us to be able to move forward. And so I wanted to be able to touch the guys, to be able to help them to be able to move forward, because, you know, as I understand myself going through divorce, I've started to realize that, you know, there's really no fault barrier there. I mean, I'm sure there's in some cases, in some arenas with regards to the relationship loss, there might be some finger pointing or whatever going on. But the reality is, to be able to pick yourself up and move yourself forward, you have to start beginning to focus on yourself and how you're going to move forward in life. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about dads going solo. And with some of this, I think that women can also appreciate and they can also relate to. So we want to try to make sure that we cover all of our bases. But I feel that men, because they have to be stronger, or at least we perceive them as being stronger, they tend to not show their emotions quite so easily. Not to mention that, I mean, several times within my lifetime and experiencing relationships with men during the divorce recovery, the relationship recovery side of it. Men have shared that that side with me. They've shared the emotional and the grief that they feel. And I really do appreciate that they trust me enough to be able to know that they can feel comfortable with being able to express how they truly do feel. And so that brings me forward to what can we do to be able to help the guys being able to move forward? Because so often I think they also get stuck because number one, they feel number one that they can't show their emotion, and so what they do is they tackle things. And so often many men, they're planners or doers, they're movers and shakers within their field. And so they focus a lot on work. They focus a lot on doing that kind of stuff. And I had one guy tell me one time that he, what he really felt was important for his family was being the breadwinner, to get out there and work and start being able to, provide for his family. And so as he was doing that, what he realized is that he was moving away from his family, and therefore his family moved away from him and they became estranged and started, of course, the divorce process. And he became bewildered about this. How could this happen to him? How could, going forward, how can he prevent something like this? And how can he change his life to really make his life evolve? And so as I started thinking a little bit about that, and I started reflecting upon a lot of the great men that is in my divorce support group, I started to realize that, so often what we need, I think, and what I'm going to share with you is what I call the PVC. And I thought that was kind of clever with the guys. But the PVC, and the number one thing on the PVC is the P is for purpose. We all have to have some sort of purpose in our lives, some sort of passion in our lives. And so I think that doesn't deviate from men. I think men also need to find a purpose. And so as they're moving forward in this loss of a relationship, I think a lot of times they turn towards their children, they turn towards their work, they turn towards different things. But I think that deep down inside, the best thing you can do is start to create a purpose for yourself. So you want to have that connection, of course, with your family and with your kids. And so often, because we're estranged from our children, they live somewhere else, their lives are going on. We feel like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And so we put ourselves into work, but that doesn't give us a purpose. All it does is fill us up to a certain point. And I think even some of these women out there, you can also relate to that. You can stay busy, 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 but it doesn't create a difference in your life. All it does is make you busy, and you get busier. But it doesn't fulfill you. And so what you have to find is some sort of purpose in your life. And I know many of my male friends, they've given up. I'll mention Hal, a wonderful, wonderful gentleman. He gives a great deal of his time to cancer victims and people that are going, really towards the end of their lives. He helps them with that transition, and he's there for them, and it's amazing work that he does. I have another gentleman that has a plane, and he helps fly and does different things like medical. If you need medical treatment and this and that, he helps with things like that. These men have found a purpose in their life, a passion in their life, and it's outside of what they're receiving back. It's actually what they're giving. And I think that is the key. It's not working and getting money and doing that. It's giving of yourself and giving of your time that makes the difference for them. And that then begins to heal them, I think. I think it creates this, as our heart is broken, we have this big empty hole there. We have this huge gash, and we have to start filling that up. And sometimes I think when we give to others, really unselfishly, that hole then starts to mend a little bit and it doesn't feel quite so bruised and quite so empty and quite so alone in there. So I think that's a very good thing. The second thing on the PVC is value. How many times have you given value to other things? And how many times have you ever given value to yourself? And so as we move through our lives, ask yourself, have you given value to yourself? What is important to you in your life? And how can you redefine your life to be able to create, number one, that purpose, that passion, but also have that value, you know? So not only the value in what you do, but the value in how you feel about yourself. That's huge. That's a huge thing to do, to feel that you have value. Because so often with such a relationship loss, we don't feel that we have value. And so what we do is we start stepping out into our lives and we surround ourselves with people that are really not good for us because we don't value ourselves. We don't feel that we can rise above anything else. So what I ask you tonight is think about not only the value that you have for yourself, the value for people that surround you. Oh, here's this guy. He says, I remember way back when making $400 a week. I'm going to put this up. I don't know if it'll all show here, Bill. Oh, it's really small, but I'm going to read it out loud because I think it might very well be important. But he says, I remember. Okay, let's see what he says. I remember way back making $400 a week, and my son had given back to me at 14 years old. Now I had to become a dad, and I lived on a sailboat in Fort Myers. We became more brothers and fathers and sons. For 7 years, we stayed on that boat and grew. He is now 32 and works in Ybor as a chef. Oh, how wonderful. And he says he owes it all to me for fighting our battles. Ladies came and went, but never pulled us apart from each other. Truly a great kid. The lady that finds me may be the lucky one. Indeed, I think. And there's no LOL to that for sure. You know, I tell you what, it's stories like that that are so valuable, that are so important in our lives, you know, and it's amazing because my ex, I've always said my ex is a great dad. I mean, I don't feel he's a bad dad at all. He just wasn't the best husband in the world. But that didn't make him a bad dad, you know. And what I see from him is that I think our son has created a purpose for him. You know, whereas when we were married, he didn't spend much time with our son. He was working all the time. He was doing all those various things that, you know, dads do. But now he really does spend quality time with our son. And there's still some things I'm not happy with, but you know, hey, that's life. And that's kind of the way it works. We're not always happy all the time. But when I can see the reflection in my son, I can see that, you know, my ex is doing a great job. And we're going to talk about some of those issues as we continue on with our series. But tonight, what I wanted to do is I wanted to focus on you as a whole person, because I feel that the value that you have is so very, very important. And I wanted to be able to reach out to each and every one that might be listening to this, having them understand that you need to also know that you have a purpose, that you have a value in life, and that it's more than just being a breadwinner, but it's also what really evolves from you. And so that's what's very important. Then the last thing is commitment. I mean, have you really given a commitment to yourself? You know, have you really been able to, and I love this. Thank you, Bill, because I really think that it's great what you're saying, that it does make a difference. But giving a commitment to yourself, I mean, to say to yourself, you know what? I have purpose. I have a passion. I have value. You know, I can make a difference, absolutely make a difference in life. And make a commitment to yourself. Make your movement of choice saying that, you know what, I'm going to make a commitment to be the best number one person I can be. I am going to live my life the best that I can live it. I'm going to be, honorable person. I'm going to do the right thing the best that I can by my family, by my ex. It's not about a tug and war, who's got one up, who's got that. I look at my son when it comes to Christmas. Hands down, my ex can probably buy him whatever he wants to buy him. But that doesn't change who he is as a dad or as a person to my son. And it doesn't change me, who I am, and as a person of what I am, how much money I can spend. But it's the quality of us as parents that we get together and we make the best that we can do for our son. And so we make a commitment to not only our family, but to ourselves and to others around us, that we try to live the best that we can live, and we try to live the most honorable life that we can live. Sure, we're not perfect. Sure, we get upset. Sure, we may say things we maybe regret. But when it comes really down to it, you really, really have to be the best person that you can be. So I think that's so important. Let's just say, by the way, you don't have to say, but we went through seven open heart surgeries. I want to go west, but I can't leave him in my head. I'm going to put that up there. That's so true. When we get so attached to our kids, so often I've thought the same thing about moving. I know my daughters thought the same thing about moving, but you just hate to move so far away from your children. It really does. It really does affect you like that, for sure. Well, you know what? I just want you to know that we're going to do a series here. It's going to have a lot of different things to it. We're going to have some guests that are going to come and talk to try to help the men's perspective on moving forward. It's not about who's the best, who's the, who did this, who did that. It's about learning and growing and just really living our best lives. And what we want to do is we'd like to be able to be whole again, because if we want to consider possibly dating, we want to really be the best partner that we can be to another. And so we're not going to be able to do that if we don't realize who we are, what's important to us, and how we can be able to move forward. And so I want you guys to take with you the PVC, and the PVC is your purpose, your passion, your value, what you feel about yourself, what you feel about your life in general, what you feel about your work, what you feel about those around you. Do they have value? Are they bringing value to you? Are you bringing value to them? Be in touch with who you are, and if you don't know who you are, not to worry, because you will as the journey continues. That's the thing is, I often say, for me, I am not who I was, nor am I who I'm going to be. I am just continuing on being the best that I can and living this moment, living in this very, very moment, the very best that I can. And so that's what I hope that you will also do. Make that commitment, that commitment to yourself, the commitment to be able to, open your heart again and understand that, life is what we want to. It's really about choices. Do we want this? I know even myself, and, I just had a friend recently tell me that, I struggle sometimes with different issues. And really, it's my own self getting in my way. I went, and I'll tell you a funny story. I went to a psychic one time, or talked to a psychic, and she said to me that too. She said, Cece, you just need to get out of your own way. And so often I think that's what we have to do, is get out of our own way. We start thinking about this and that, and, maybe we start making something more than what it is. We listen to that little voice in our heads. But, what I want you to listen to is that you are an awesome person, and as you continue to grow, you'll start to realize that, you really are awesome. And so here we are with dads going solo. And I think that our kids, really deserve the best that we can be. So that's what's so vital to us. So again, let's go over the PVC. The PVC is having purpose and passion in your life. It's really starting to understand yourself and what your dreams and desires and goals are. The other thing is value, having value for yourself, value for those around you, value for your family, value that your life will be what you want it to be. You know, understand that where you are today is not where you're going to be tomorrow, nor the next day, which is such a cool thing to think about. The other thing is a commitment. Doggone it, give a commitment to yourself. Give a commitment to others. You know, men are doers. They're you know, they get out there and they make it happen. So guys, let's make this happen. Let's get you through this. Let's get you through probably one of the worst times in your life if you're going through divorce now. If you're going through some sort of relationship loss, maybe a death or whatever, you know that it will get better for you. Absolutely. So make that commitment to yourself so that it will happen, because that's how it works with the guys. I mean, the guys are thinkers, and they just do things a little bit different, and they don't really, even though now during one of the hardest times in their lives, you know, deal with emotions. So they're not used to it. It just is not something that they're accustomed to. So we're going to bring on some really great guests to be able to talk about this subject, to be able to share with us a little bit more. Bill, I want to thank you so much for speaking out and sharing things with us. I'd love to have you on as a guest sometime. It would be nice to be able to have someone that really has gone through a lot of changes in their lives, and, you know, raising children and understanding, you know, what has happened with that and how difficult that can be, but also how wonderful it can be. And so I commend you for that. Absolutely. I want to share with you too some of the other shows that we're going to be having. I'm going to have Paul Levin on next week, and we're going to talk about, let's see, our topic is why women should have more orgasms. Oh, wow. How about that one? So I'm not going to need a blusher for that one, I don't think. But that's what our topic is next week with Paul Levin. He's our guest, and a terrific guy. We had him on Boy and Girl Thing, and he was pretty awesome. So we're going to talk about why women should have more orgasms. So you don't want to miss that next week here on Tuesday night at 8:30. That's for sure. Now on Thursday with Boy and Girl Thing with Christopher T. Kit Smith. And I call him Kit sometimes when I'm in a happy mood, and Christopher when I'm being an ornery person. But we're going to talk about how falling in love changes as we get older, according to what people say. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. Can sit on that one. Okay. So, oh yeah, the orgasm one's going to be, I'm going to be probably, even now talking about it, I start blushing and getting all weirded out. So that's going to be really fun with Paul Levin, and he's probably going to love every minute of it. But we're going to have a fun show, and I want to tell you, Thursday's my birthday. So we're going to be talking about a really good subject on how falling in love changes as you get older. And that's what people say. So we're going to be talking about what people have said. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope, Bill, you will join us, and everyone else out there that's listening to this, whether they're listening now or after the broadcast. We love you, and we just want to thank you so much for coming on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is Cece with Going Solo with Cece, and I hope you will stick around and listen to more of our Dad's Going Solo series. I'm going to be broadcasting that at another time, so we're going to be having some fun times with some of the guys out there. So I hope you like this show. Oh, you're still in line ball still. Okay. Well, I hope you like this show, and I hope that you'll enjoy some of the others. Remember, we are on goingsolonetwork.com, and you can just go on the website, click on the button, and you can hear live streaming. So we have a lot of really great shows. So I want to give a shout out to all of you guys out there who are going solo. You know, we're here for you, and we hope that things will be a little bit easier. So back at you. We'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.